Oh, my screen is a little off, but welcome everybody. I'll fix that here in a minute. Welcome everyone to our weekly HDI local chapters live stream show. I am excited because today is our second technology smackdown. It's really a smackdown of sorts, and I can't wait to get started. But before we do that, let me talk about our show sponsor. Robert Half Technology helps companies build, deploy, and operate technology in the digital world by placing highly skilled IT professionals. Now, they do this either on a contract basis, a project basis, or even on a full-time basis. So if you're an employer looking for that perfect candidate, or you're a candidate looking for that perfect employer, go to roberthalf.com/technology to find that perfect match. All right, so today, our guests for the show are Ellen Donati and Tony North, two really good friends of mine from the HDI local chapters community. So I want to introduce them both to you. Tony, Ellen, say hi to the audience.
Hello.
Hi, audience.
All right, so I think I'm going to have to fix my camera shot a little bit there. Here we go. All right, so folks, the today's show is, as I said, is a smackdown, and we're going to talk about today is working from home versus in the office. You know, the 2020 debate that's rolling into 2021. So I'm going to add, now our guests today, Ellen and Tony, while we usually have people debating each side, both Tony and Ellen have experienced both the working in the office and remote, like most people. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them both debate both sides of the issue. But first I want to ask, Ellen, if you had to pick one to do for the rest of your life, what would be your preference, working from home or working in the office?
I never thought I would say this before this year, but I would want to work from home. I don't even want to go back. I just love it. It's just changed my life working from home.
Tony, how about you?
I would pick working from home. I would have never picked this before either, especially managing call centers because so much happens so fast. But we've proved that we can do this.
You know, I'm like Ellen. I love going to work. I love being there. But, you know, doing this for so long, I guess what they say, like 6 weeks is something, you kind of get used to it. Maybe it took me a little longer than that. But so, Ellen, let me ask you, what makes working from home so appealing since you've changed your mind and you've flipped that model of what you like?
I think this week I really remembered that I would be going to work when it was dark and I would be coming home when it was dark. And I wouldn't even know what the weather was outside. And we had some beautiful weather this week. So I was able to go out and ride my bike yesterday and take a break. And then I worked late last night instead of working, for the 2 hours that I took for the bike ride. I worked late last night and I was really happy and very accomplished. I felt very accomplished yesterday. And I never would have been able to do that. I could take maybe a lunch break and walk around Sacramento, but I had to get back. And I just feel that so much more flexible that I really like the blend of the work and being home.
So, Tony, you mentioned managing call centers and everything else. So what makes working from home so appealing to you, even given the roles that you've had now and in the past?
Well, first of all, I agree with Ellen. I don't want to debate that at all. I think really being able to have the flexibility so that, on a given day, usually you have to work 9 to 5, right? Or 8 to 6, whatever the case may be, and you're stuck at work. And in the working from home, I could actually manage my time so I can still get the 8 to 9 hours in for work, but I may, do it from, 12 to 6 and then, have a long lunch or, I could do something, for the kids that I normally wouldn't be able to do. So I can still accomplish everything I need within that given day, but maybe not the traditional, maybe in a flexible schedule.
Yeah, I got to agree with both of you. So for me, like I said, I enjoyed going to work, in the office and such. But for me, I have an hour and a half commute each way. And I did enjoy it because I take public transportation for the most part. So it's my getting ready time on the way in and my spin down on the way home. But man, not having that 3-hour commute every day, that's been great. All right, so let's talk about the downsides, though, from working from home. I hear there's some downsides. Ellen, do you see any downsides from your perspective on working from home?
Um, the team misses each other sometimes. Um, I think I think that we have to see each other every once in a while. I just think that would be a good idea. I think if I had any bad employees, that they would be more difficult to manage from home. But I don't know because luckily right now I have a very professional team, and they have actually worked harder. They've been assigned more work than usual, and the ones that have lots of doctor's appointments and stuff, it's not noticeable anymore. They work around it. And as you say, they don't have to drive an hour to work and drive an hour back to rush to get to their kid to a doctor or something.
Yeah.
They're probably more productive.
Yeah.
Than,
So one of our viewers, Too Much Too, which I think you know, I think that's Terry. Anyway, she said, first of all, hi, Tony and Ellen. And two, she said, team lunches, maybe team video lunches. But Ellen, you make up a good point from an employer, from a manager's point of view. You know, it's challenging enough to work with struggling employees, but when you're doing it remotely, you know, you don't get to see how much they're struggling and how much that you can help them. Tony, downsides working from home for you.
You know, there's nothing that replaces the face-to-face. I've been lucky in my career to go to about 300 client sites worldwide, and being able to be face-to-face really helps with the non-verbal communication, which is usually 93% of what you do, and then the body language, which is 50% of what you do. So the downside is communication. There could be a communication gap that you're missing, and you know, it'll take a little extra time to get what you want to accomplish. But you know, I don't think there's anything that replaces the face-to-face.
I agree. And for me, the downsides are a couple. One, although I guess this could be more so me, I guess it's just me, but I don't know that it affects me a whole lot. But I end up working more because I don't do that commute, even though because I don't personally drive, I take the public transit. I still kind of work on the train and the buses. But you know, I've heard people say, you know, that because I don't have that hour and a half commute, I'm in my seat an hour and a half earlier and sometimes an hour and a half later. The other thing I think from like a call center perspective for my help desk folks is that when you're answering the phone, you can't talk to each other to help somebody on the phone because I'm at my house, you're at your house, and if I need your help and just bounce a question off you, it's a little harder. I mean, I can chat it, but it's still not the same. So,
That's right.
so my service desk, as they got younger and younger, they were so used to chatting over the phone. Maybe it's the fighting over when video games, they're so used to it that they're pretty good at it. In fact, when you walk through the service desk, it's so quiet now, whereas when I worked in it, it was so loud, it was distracting the other departments. But they're
so a plus maybe, right? A plus from that. So let's flip the script a little bit. Why would you? What's good about working in the office? We talked a little bit. Tony mentioned a couple things, but Alan, working in the office versus, you know, why is it? Could it be better than working from home? Like, what are the pluses to that?
I think you don't have the distractions. I mean, we're all used to now dogs showing up and kids showing up
That's right, dogs.
dogs, yeah, and I think we've even called places where the people on the phone working are distracted by things. I think, you know, you get ready, you can go out to lunch, you do have a social aspect of it, you have the friends. I rarely talk to people from other departments anymore, and I find that we're kind of siloing now. There's a lot less drama. There's a lot less drama.
True. Yeah. How about you?
That you'd usually have, but you don't have that fun.
See, and here's the one thing I was going to mention before I get to you, Tony. I'll say the one downside that I see is when we're doing these video calls, you have to wait. You overtalk somebody, they don't hear you. Like if Ellen and I were talking in the same room in a meeting room, even though I start to say something before her, she would have heard it, and Tony would have noticed that I was saying something because he could see it a little faster, a little quicker. And yeah. Hey, Tony, how about you? What's the upsides to, you know, you mentioned a few, but anything else on the upsides from working in the office? versus from remotely?
One of the things that I notice we're missing now by being at home all the time is onboarding and training. You're really left to do only the onboarding and training that is available to you from, a system, an online system. And so that really impacts your ability to team build. I mean, half the time when you're especially managing a call center or any type of team, being able to do onboarding and training together improves your ability to build that team and trust. And so by missing that, there's that downside.
True.
And I do agree. We do text messages all the time now, and so that tends to be replacing our face to face. I call it my snow plan, because when the snow came, this is how we communicated all the time: instant message or text. And now we just do that as a core of the day, and that's just part of the day. And so, but you do even in text miss the language, miss words, and so things can be misinterpreted.
That is so true. So Ellen, before we get to because we're actually almost out of time, believe it or not. Is there any downsides do you see from working from the office versus from home? We talked about a few, but is there any other ones you'd like to add?
Well, for me, I have a lot of students that are working on a project, like about 13 students. They're saving a lot of money that they are using for commuting to the job. And then it's saving them 2 hours from back and forth, so they can focus more on their schoolwork. And they're doing a great job. They're actually more productive at home. We still need them to come in, because you're right, the training is very difficult online, Tony. That's just awful. And they aren't getting the team building that they need. And we're supposed to be teaching the students how to work in a work environment for the future. So we're going to have it blended in the end.
So let's talk about that. We're down to about 2 minutes to go for the show. So Tony, let's talk about that. What do you think that this is going to look like when things do return to normal? I mean, some people are already back in the office, but many aren't. What's it going to look like in later 2021, 2022?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be a hybrid model, is what I feel, because first of all, financially, it's beneficial for commercial leasing, not the companies, but for companies who are leasing commercial property to not hold as much space as they always had, because we required everybody to be in the office. So I think it'll be a hybrid model also from the standpoint of, when people get sick now, there's going to be a different model than there was before. People will maybe use masks when they have colds, and they won't come in and affect everybody. In the past, everybody always came in, no matter what, and unless you took a sick day. And so our company specifically is looking at a hybrid model, so that, certain meetings, certain gatherings, certain trainings, we would set up a time to come in the office, but there will be more what we call hosted workstations, just to rotate people as opposed to full-time employee desks.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's funny, because my wife and I talked about that. Like, COVID is COVID, but really before that, people shouldn't have been coming in sick, but they did. It's just the way we did. It was the norm. Ellen.
Afford to stay home for a month. If you're sick, you could not afford to do that.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So now maybe employers will start, understanding that. Ellen, you want to add anything to that? Like how things are going to change?
I think that I'm hoping for the hybrid model also. It depends on the team. You might have to have some coverage at the office. In my case, we're testers. And so when we come in, we're going to all come in at the same time. That way.
But when you say hybrid, do you mean, like, I know some people are talking like 2 days or 3 days a week in the office, 2 days or 3 days a week away from the office, or is it like, what do you mean by hybrid necessarily?
I'm hoping 2 days a week in the office and 3 days home, but it may be 3 days in the office and 2 days home.
But it's like a day split in the week, not not that's what you meant by hybrid, right? Not
Yeah.
Like some of us always work from home and some of us always work from the office. It's everybody gets kind of like the flex.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And some companies may decide to do it in a different fashion, like, working from 8 to 1. And then the rest of the day is working from home.
I-
And then Tuesday and Thursday will be, your day where you're home all the time.
yeah,
But
that's kind
I
of what
think,
we were thinking too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
Okay.
for us, it would save us with parking and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're downtown, and it would be better to have a whole day, not half a day. But some people will want the half the day,
yeah.
and I have people that want to come back to work. I have. It's funny. The parents want to come back to work.
That's
Uh,
right.
I heard somebody saying that all the parents want to come back to work.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I have to tell you, sorry to say, but we are out of time. We're at the end of the show. That goes by quickly, let me tell you. First of all, I'd like to thank both Ellen and Tony for taking time out of their day. They're on the West Coast, so for them it's earlier in the day than it is for me. Thank you both for being on the show. You were great guests, and this is a very, very hot topic to talk about. I want everybody the audience to remember to visit the HDI local chapters website. The link is on the screen, and follow us on the social media sites below. And one more thing, we're in a future episode, I think it's going to be in March, we're going to actually have Robert Half Technologies come on and talk about employment and things. So if you have a question for a recruiter out there, or something you want us to talk about with a recruiter, email me at tomwilkhdi@gmail.com, or put some, the comments in our Twitch stream or our YouTube channel. And again, Ellen, Tony, thank you so much. And I'm sure I'll be chatting with you all soon.